The question hung in the Family Feud studio air like a prayer. 18-year-old Marcus Thompson had whispered to himself in countless foster homes over the past 16 years. "What's your biggest dream?" Steve Harvey had asked, and for a moment, Marcus felt that familiar ache in his chest, the same longing that had kept him awake on so many nights, wondering about the woman who had given birth to him and then disappeared from his life before he was old enough to form memories. "My biggest dream," Marcus said quietly into the microphone, his voice carrying the weight of a lifetime of questions, "is to find my real family, to know where I come from, to understand who I am." Behind him stood Patricia Williams, 58 years old, and the closest thing to a mother Marcus had ever known. She had been his foster parent for the past 4 years, taking him in when he was 14 and aging out of traditional foster placements. Her heart broke a little every time Marcus referred to finding his real family, not because she didn't understand his need to know his origins, but because she wished she could be enough to fill that void that had shaped his entire identity. Steve Harvey felt the familiar tug at his heartstrings that came with recognizing profound human need. In his decades of hosting, he had learned to hear the stories behind the words, and Marcus's simple statement contained volumes about loss, hope, and the fundamental human desire to belong somewhere completely. The studio audience murmured with sympathy, understanding instinctively that they were witnessing more than a game show answer. They were seeing into the heart of a young man who had spent his entire conscious life wondering about the most basic questions of identity. Where did I come from? Why was I given away? Am I wanted anywhere in this world? Let me take you back to how we got here. Marcus Thompson's story began 18 years ago when he was found, barely 3 days old, in a safe surrender box at Sacred Heart Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. There had been no note, no explanation, just a tiny baby wrapped in a yellow blanket. The state had named him Marcus and placed him in Tennessee's foster care system. From his earliest days, Marcus had moved from placement to placement as circumstances changed. Each transition had been explained with assurances that it wasn't his fault, but no amount of careful explanation could prevent a child from internalizing the pattern of being loved and then left behind. By age 10, Marcus had lived in 7 different foster homes. He had learned to pack quickly, to not get too attached to bedrooms that might not be his for long, and to present himself as an easy child who wouldn't cause problems. The teenage years had been particularly challenging. Most families preferred younger children, and Marcus had spent several years in group homes. At 14, he was facing the reality that he would likely age out at 18 with no family connections. That's when Patricia Williams entered his life. Patricia was a retired teacher who had decided to become a foster parent after her husband passed away. She had specifically requested an older teenager, understanding these young people needed advocates just as much as younger children. "I'm not trying to replace your family," Patricia had told him during their first week together. "I'm here to be your family until you find yours." Patricia had provided Marcus with the first stable home he had experienced since early childhood. But even in her love and stability, Marcus continued to wonder about his origins. "Do you think she thinks about me?" he would ask Patricia sometimes, referring to his birth mother. "Do you think she wonders how I turned out?" Patricia always answered honestly, "I believe that mothers never stop thinking about their children, even when circumstances force them apart. I believe she loves you, even if she can't be with you." The questions about his biological family had intensified as Marcus approached 18 and prepared to age out of foster care. Patricia had offered to let him stay with her indefinitely, and he was grateful for her continued support. But the questions about his identity felt more urgent as he prepared to become an adult. The Family Feud opportunity had come through Marcus's high school guidance counselor, who had nominated him for the show's Overcoming Adversity Week. Marcus had achieved remarkable academic success despite childhood instability, earning a scholarship to Memphis State University, where he planned to study social work. During the drive from Memphis to Atlanta, Marcus had been uncharacteristically quiet. "I keep thinking about how I'll introduce myself," he had told Patricia. 18 years old, and I don't even know my own name. The Family Feud studios had been overwhelming in the best possible way. During the family introductions, Marcus had presented himself clearly. "I'm Marcus Thompson. I'm 18 years old, and I'm from Memphis." This is my foster mom, Patricia, who has been my family for the past 4 years. Steve had immediately picked up on the significance of that introduction. Foster mom, huh? Patricia, tell me about this young man. Patricia had beamed with pride. Steve, Marcus is one of the most remarkable people I've ever known. He's been in foster care his entire life, but instead of becoming bitter or angry, he's used his experiences to develop compassion, resilience, and a desire to help other children in similar situations. He's graduating as valedictorian next month and going to college on a full scholarship to study social work. The audience had erupted in applause, and Steve had looked at Marcus with genuine admiration. That's what I'm talking about. That's what overcoming adversity looks like. You should be proud of yourself, young man. Marcus had smiled, but Steve had noticed that something in his expression remained wistful, as if praise and achievement, while meaningful, couldn't completely fill whatever void he was carrying. The game had progressed with Marcus participating enthusiastically, but thoughtfully. The Thompson family was playing against the Rodriguez family from Texas, and both teams seemed to understand that this was less about competition and more about celebration and community. During the second round, when Steve asked for things that make a house feel like home, Marcus had buzzed in with people who are glad to see you when you walk in the door. The answer had earned the #1 spot on the board, and a meaningful look from Steve, who understood that for someone who had moved between houses his entire life, the concept of home was more about emotional safety than physical location. That's a beautiful answer, Marcus, Steve had said. Sounds like you understand what really makes a family. Marcus had nodded. Patricia taught me that family isn't just about blood. It's about people who choose to love you and stick around. But it was during the 4th round that the moment arrived that would change everything for Marcus Thompson. Steve had announced the survey question with his usual energy, not knowing that he was about to ask something that would touch the deepest part of Marcus's lifelong search for identity. Name your biggest dream. The question hung in the studio air, seemingly straightforward but carrying profound weight for someone who had spent 18 years wondering about his place in the world. For most contestants, it would generate answers about career success, financial security, or personal achievements. But for Marcus, standing on that stage in front of millions of viewers, the question forced him to voice the longing that had defined his entire conscious existence. Marcus stepped up to the microphone, and for a moment, all the media training and public speaking skills he had developed through school presentations fell away. He was just an 18-year-old young man being asked to name his deepest desire, and the answer came from a place of pure honesty. My biggest dream, Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly across the studio, is to find my real family, to know where I come from, to understand who I am. The studio fell quiet as the weight of that simple statement settled over everyone present. This wasn't just a game show answer. It was a young man's fundamental search for identity and belonging. Steve Harvey slowly set down his index cards. Something in Marcus's tone, in the way he had said real family, without any diminishment of Patricia's importance, but with a clear distinction about biological connection, told Steve that this was a moment requiring more than standard game show response. Marcus, Steve said gently, can you tell us a little bit about that? About what it means to want to know where you come from? Marcus looked at Patricia, who gave him an encouraging nod, understanding that this was his story to tell and his need to express. I've been in foster care my entire life, Marcus explained, his voice growing stronger as he spoke. Patricia has been amazing, and I've had some really good foster families who cared about me. But I've never known anything about my birth parents. I don't know why I was given up. I don't know if I have siblings. I don't even know my medical history. Sometimes I feel like I'm a person without a beginning, you know? The audience murmured with sympathy, many people wiping their eyes as they recognized the profound loss. Marcus was describing. I look in the mirror sometimes, Marcus continued, and I wonder whose eyes I have, whose smile, whose hands. I wonder if my birth mother thinks about me, if she regrets giving me up, if she would be proud of who I've become. Steve felt his chest tighten with emotion. As someone who valued family deeply, he could barely imagine what it would feel like to have no knowledge of your origins, no sense of genetic connection, no understanding of the circumstances that led to your existence. But what happened next was something that no one in the studio had anticipated. During Marcus's heartfelt explanation, a woman backstage had been crying. Jennifer Martinez, 35, had been working as a production assistant for Family Feud for 2 years, and Marcus's story had struck her with devastating familiarity. 18 years ago, Jennifer had been a 17-year-old who had made the most difficult decision of her life. Pregnant and facing impossible circumstances, she had surrendered her baby through Tennessee's safe haven law, believing it was the most loving choice. For 18 years, Jennifer had wondered about her son, never stopping her search. As Marcus spoke about being found as a 3-day-old baby in Memphis, Jennifer's heart began racing. The timeline was right. The location was right. With shaking hands, Jennifer called her sister from backstage. "Sarah, you need to get to a television, right now. Turn on Family Feud. I think I'm looking at my son." The math was undeniable. 18 years ago, in Memphis, a baby boy had been surrendered. Jennifer had given birth 18 years ago, in Memphis, and had surrendered her baby boy. The connection was too powerful to ignore. While this recognition was happening backstage, Steve was continuing his conversation with Marcus on stage, unaware that the young man's birth mother was watching from just 20 feet away. "Marcus," Steve said, "I want you to know that your desire to know your origins is completely understandable and valid. That's not taking anything away from Patricia or the love you've received from foster families. It's just part of being human to want to know where you come from." Steve turned to Patricia. "And, Patricia, you're a remarkable woman for supporting Marcus in this search, while also providing him with the love and stability he needed." Patricia smiled through her tears. "All I've ever wanted is for Marcus to feel complete. If finding his biological family helps with that, then I support it completely." But Steve wasn't finished with this moment that had transcended entertainment and touched something fundamental about human connection and belonging. "You know, Marcus," Steve said, "sometimes when people are searching for something they need, the universe has a way of bringing answers when they're ready to receive them." As he spoke, a production assistant approached the stage and whispered something urgent in Steve's earpiece. Steve's eyes widened as he listened, and he looked toward the wings of the stage, where Jennifer Martinez was standing, tears streaming down her face, holding a manila folder containing 18 years of documents, photos, and keepsakes she had never stopped carrying. "Marcus," Steve said, his voice carrying unusual gravity, "I need you to stay right there for a moment, okay? Don't move from that spot." Marcus nodded, confusion clear on his face, but trusting that Steve had something important to share. "Ladies and gentlemen," Steve announced, turning to address the studio audience and cameras, "sometimes television gives us the privilege of witnessing something that defies coincidence and touches the realm of miracle. Sometimes the answer to a prayer arrives exactly when someone is brave enough to voice their deepest need." He gestured toward the wings of the stage. "Marcus, there's someone here who would like to meet you. Someone who has been searching for you for 18 years. Jennifer Martinez, would you please come out here?" From backstage emerged a woman in her mid-30s, visibly shaking with emotion, clutching a folder to her chest like a lifeline. Jennifer walked slowly toward Marcus, each step carrying 18 years of hope, regret, love, and desperate longing. Marcus watched her approach with growing wonder and disbelief. Something about her felt familiar, in a way he couldn't explain. The shape of her eyes, the way she held her shoulders, something indefinable but unmistakable. "Marcus," Jennifer said, her voice breaking with 18 years of suppressed emotion, "my name is Jennifer Martinez. 18 years ago, I made the most difficult decision of my life. I was 17 years old, scared and alone, and I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy that I had to surrender because I couldn't take care of him the way he deserved." The studio was completely silent, 300 people holding their breath as they witnessed what might be the reunion of a lifetime. "I've been searching for you ever since," Jennifer continued, tears flowing freely. "I've never stopped thinking about you, never stopped wondering if you were safe, if you were loved, if you would hate me for the choice I made." Marcus stared at Jennifer, his 18-year-old mind struggling to process what was happening. Are you saying you think you're my mother?" Jennifer opened the folder she was carrying, and pulled out a worn hospital bracelet, a lock of baby hair, and a photo of herself taken 18 years ago. I gave birth to you on March 15, 2005, at Sacred Heart Hospital in Memphis. I surrendered you 3 days later because I was 17, alone, and I believed it was the most loving thing I could do for you. Marcus looked at the items in Jennifer's hands, then at her face, then back at the keepsakes that connected him to his origins. March 15th is my birthday, he whispered. I know, Jennifer said. I've celebrated it every year, wondering where you were, hoping you were happy. The studio audience was openly crying now, witnessing this reunion between mother and son after 18 years of separation and searching. Steve Harvey, who had thought he'd seen everything in his years of hosting, found himself speechless in the face of this extraordinary moment. Marcus, he finally said, how are you feeling right now? Marcus looked at Jennifer, then at Patricia, then back at Jennifer. I feel like I'm dreaming, he said honestly. I feel like I'm finally understanding who I am. Jennifer stepped closer, her voice soft but clear. Marcus, if you are my son, and everything in my heart tells me you are, I want you to know that giving you up was never about not wanting you. It was about wanting the best possible life for you. I was 17, with no job, no family support, no way to provide for a baby. I thought I was giving you a chance at a better life. And you did, Marcus replied, his voice strong despite his tears. I've had good people take care of me. I've gotten a good education. I'm going to college. I turned out okay. You turned out more than okay, Jennifer said with pride. You turned out extraordinary. Steve Harvey then did something that would become one of the most meaningful moments in television history. He removed his suit jacket, his lucky jacket that he wore to every taping, and approached Marcus and Jennifer. Marcus, Steve said, this jacket has been with me for every show I've hosted. But today, it belongs with someone who just found his beginning, his connection, his answer to a lifelong question. He placed the jacket around Marcus's shoulders, then looked at both Marcus and Jennifer. Family isn't always the people who raise you, and it's not always the people who gave birth to you. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's the people who never stopped searching, and the people who never stopped loving, even when they couldn't be together. Marcus pulled the jacket closer around himself, feeling for the first time in his life like he had a complete story, a full picture of where he came from and who he was. Jennifer, Marcus said, using her name tentatively. Can I ask you something? What's my real name? The name you would have given me. Jennifer smiled through her tears. I would have named you David, after my grandfather, who taught me about strength and kindness. Marcus David Thompson Martinez. Marcus said experimentally. That sounds like a complete person. What happened, after the cameras stopped rolling, became the subject of news articles and reunion stories for years to come. DNA testing confirmed what everyone in the studio had known. Marcus and Jennifer were indeed mother and son. The reunion was facilitated with professional counselors who specialized in adoption reunification. Jennifer shared the story of Marcus's conception and surrender, while Marcus learned about his medical history and extended family. Marcus learned that Patricia's love had been real and valuable, and Jennifer's love had been real and painful, and that both women had contributed to making him the remarkable young man he had become. The episode became one of the most watched in Family Feud history, sparking conversations about foster care and family reunion. Steve Harvey's foundation established a reunion assistance program for foster children searching for biological families. Marcus kept Steve's jacket through college, wearing it to graduation. He became a social worker, specializing in foster care and family reunification, using his experience to help other children navigate complex family situations. Jennifer and Marcus developed a careful relationship with Patricia's full support. They learned to be mother and son as adults, building connection based on who they were now, rather than who they might have been 18 years ago. Patricia often says that watching Marcus find his biological family didn't diminish her role in his life. It completed his story and allowed him to move forward with a fuller understanding of himself. The lesson that 18-year-old Marcus taught that day extends far beyond adoption or foster care. He reminded the world that everyone deserves to know their story, that searching for origins doesn't diminish current relationships, and that sometimes the most important answers come when we're brave enough to voice our deepest questions. Steve Harvey learned that day that the most powerful moments in television happen when you're willing to facilitate real human connection. Sometimes a game show host can do more than entertain. Sometimes he can help someone find the missing pieces of their identity. Jennifer learned that the love she had carried for 18 years had been worth preserving, and that her difficult decision had indeed given her son opportunities for a good life, while never erasing the connection between them. Because that's what belonging looks like. That's what completed identity sounds like. And that's what happens when a young man's lifelong search for family meets a mother's 18-year search for her son, proving that some connections transcend time, circumstance, and separation. And that family can be both the people who raise you and the people who gave you life, loving you in different ways, but with equal validity.